define your future, right? So we all talk about, that's one thing that every mother, every parent, everyone talks about is what is going to happen in 30 years, 40 years. So I'm just going to give you a good brief on certain aspect how it transcended in my life from where I started to where I am today. And if I look at it, I don't even think I would have made this journey so far when I was about 18 or 12 years of age when I started off. I'm sure I feel very great seeing so many logos on the right hand side of my name. I just put that in place because this is what goes in most of the speaker sessions that I send. And each and every logo is something that I have earned over the period of time, right? Today in the startup era, startup way, pretty much everyone expects everything to happen overnight and immediate get an applause and recognitions for things you have done. So life is like a painting canvas. It starts empty and then you keep filling up multiple things. I always say that the end could be completely different than what you have thought about. You can start with painting a mountain and then a river at the bottom, and then you turn around, it turns out to be a sky and a valley. So I think one of the key factor in it is every day you have to give something more, and you have to make sure that you earn every bit of your experience in terms of what you like to do. And this is what I started when I basically started my life about when I was 13 years, which is about 30 years, 33 years before now. And this, I will give you a good story about how it started. One day I saw this person who got a watch from Singapore, and that had a spider crawling around. And I went to my dad and said, Dad, I want this watch. And my dad, being my dad, he said, no, you're not going to get this watch because it is a little bit expensive. So then I decided I want to make a watch, and I want this watch really. And that is where the inquisitiveness of any entrepreneurial streak comes from as an individual. You have to have this streak in you saying that I want to do something, I want to solve something, or I have an opportunity for something. Here, I wanted something that I desired. And that is something I had to do in the price point that my dad could afford to do. So what I did is I found out where I could find these materials. It was somewhere in Central. There's a watch place. So I was already working with my neighbor in helping him with his electronic work. So I went there. I went to this person, and this is where a 13, 14-year-old guy coming and suddenly asking, I want to build a watch, I want to do this. And that's where one person makes a daunting difference, and very important that you find that one person. Out of the 7, 8 stores, there's one person who took me seriously although I was a kid. And he told me, do you know how to do it? I said, no, but I want to do this. He said, do you have half an hour? I said, I have 1 hour. So he actually sat, took me inside, he taught me exactly how to make that watch. And I said, can we build it? He said, yes, I will help you build it together. And I asked, what will the cost be? And he said, overall cost will be about 60, 70 rupees. So I said, okay, I have that kind of a money, so I can go ahead with that. And that is where my journey started as an entrepreneur. I built my first watch for myself. I came back, I showed my friends and everyone, like everyone else, right? We just go and show off, hey, see, I got this watch. Then everyone started, I also want. So I simply said, I can build it for you. And people said, no, it should be from abroad, you can't build it in India. And that's something is my life. Always I had this one thing. If you challenge me, normally I go ahead and do it. Because if someone says it's impossible, I try to find out a way it's possible. And if it doesn't happen, I'm happy to fail because I just tried instead of sitting around. And that's when my first project started. In 2 years, I about sold 1,000 watches. I made good money. I could give gifts to my sisters, my parents, and I could do certain things that I wanted. I could buy certain equipments that I wanted to do some research and things like that. So this is something where how it has to work when you want to do something. The passion has to be in there. And I'll tell you, this is a small thing that we did about 6 years back on one of my drone stick startup. There is election campaign in 2021, and someone said, can we use drones to actually monitor when they go for a campaign, is how many people are viewing and all that. So I said, yeah, we can put it on the drone, but I can also do some more thing. I can put a flag I can also put a screen and put your video on top of it and audio. And this is a sample we just did, and this is the only copy I have because other things I can't show. So we just showed how it's possible with just a basic drone. I don't have to re-engineer anything, redo anything. And this is what I say is, keep it simple. Don't try to reinvent a lot of wheels. Don't try to reinvent a lot of technology. Try to take the technology what's available and try to do something better out of it. And something creative, and India is known for jugaad, so that is something you can do. Now comes to the part of, before I go to this, I'll tell you from where my journey started to where it is today. As everyone knows today, me as Ozone Motors, electric car manufacturer and mobility AI company. And this is where we started our journey in about 2019. And when we started, as always, I met my founder and we were talking about, he was talking about he wanted to build an electric car. And this brings back to me saying that I've had a connection with automobiles for the last 20 years, 25 years. My first venture for automobile was about in selling used cars and financing vehicles. I'm from a Marwadi Jain family, so financing goes in the blood. And that has also helped me in the technology as well as on what I did in the US. So I started working in the automobiles. I then went to US. Over there, today you ask any of my friends, I'm known as a car guy because I want to make sure that when they want to buy a car out of college, I help them out. I work with the dealership over there to try to make sure I get the best cars for my friends. And this was all a passion that was driven because I always wanted to be connected with something or other. Basically, my mom used to say from small that my hands always will not be white. I will always have a screwdriver or a scissors or something in the hand. And these are the ways you figure out that you have always an inquisitive mind. And inquisitiveness is the key of any new invention that comes about. So from there, when the journey started, I saw my first electric car in the US called GM EV1. And then the transition into sustainability was already there in the US, was clean energy at that time when I used to live there in 2008, 2009 when Tesla came about also. So seeing this journey, when I came back, I picked up my first dealership in 2008. And this was a great coincidence that happened. If you know the GST road, there used to be a factory called Standard Factory. So my Peripa, is basically my dad's elder brother, used to live in Singapore Malkovil. So we used to go from Chennai to Singapore Malkovil on a regular basis. So whenever I saw that factory, I used to tell Dad, one day I want to have this factory. And my dad being in the government employee, he was in the national insurance, he always say, "Itna unche khab mat dekh." That means don't look at so high. It's not where you can be. I said, "No, Dad, one day I'm going to do it." And that is something I used to religiously say every time we go for several years. And then there's another place I always used to adore is when I went to cross Adyar to ECR. There is one place which has a Pizza Hut with a flying aircraft on the outside. I'm sure many might know, might not know. And if you go a little ahead, there's a dealership of a car where the car is on the first floor. This was a big thing 30 years or 20 years back also. A car displayed in the first floor of a place. So I always said that I also want to do something like this when I open something from the factory. If I do a dealership, I want all my cars to be on the first floor. And fast forward, 2008, my second part of the first dream came first. Is basically I bought the dealership in 2008. And this happened not because of a necessity, because of an opportunity. Me and my friend, my ex-partner, we were just there tripping about the car service and all that stuff. And then he was there and he said, "Hey, Ajesh, this dealership, I was there with him on a coffee and he's saying if you're complaining so much, why don't you buy it?" And I was in the US at that time. Without even a second thought, I said buy it. Not knowing which dealership it was. I just said buy it. And then we took it, 2009, I moved back to India. And when I saw it, my dad messaged me, you finished something that you wanted. I didn't understand at that time. So when I came and saw the dealership, is when I realized that I actually got the dealership that I was once aspiring to have, a place like that. And that proves that if you work work hard, and if you work sincerely and you have that kind of in your subconscious mind, things will work out. And that is where to make sure that you're confident, but you're persistent and committed for something that you want. But the passion also plays an important role because you have to be associated with that. And then fast forward to, and then we had multiple dealerships. I had racing teams that we created. We did some great things. We were number 3 in many businesses we started. And that was all because of being a go-getter. As I said, someone called and said, hey, this is a problem or this is an opportunity as a business. We both will jump on it and try to take it. And every growth has a pain, which is the biggest advantage today most of the youngsters don't have in the startup ecosystem is the funding. We were growing at a rapid pace and the only person who can fund us was a bank or a regular financier, and that was very expensive cost. There was nothing known as equity about 15 years back that you could go and sell an idea and pick up. So being number 3 was still difficult to raise funds. And we survived, we did a couple of things, we were existing. So 2014 I came into the startup realm. Automobile was there, we tried to launch a car called Bufori in India in about 2011. And then the EV was always a transition in my head going on that we have to do something. 2019 I went to China for a fire security system exhibition, and next door was an EV exhibition. And I saw the exhibition and I was thrilled about the vehicles over there in the EV ecosystem, and I said I want to get them to India. So I did a couple of interviews, I met a couple of people, I went and met a few manufacturers over there. And when I came back is when I was talking to someone, and then I met Deepak, as I said, 2019, coming to that place, is where we started saying what we want to do in India. So someone asked me before, and I said this, it is not something that I want to build that I can build and give it. It is if it's only me as a consumer, I can do that. If you are my consumer, I have to build according to what you want. And that's where I said the founder is we have to first go and understand what the market wants. Thanks to my automotive experience, we said, I have connects, let's go and do the drill. So we went and found out what the market wants, what is more important in terms of sustainability, clean mobility, what is needed in terms of the entire environment, and the most important, how can I do it different than what the current manufacturers are doing? Because we know it's a mammoth, so I cannot be a mammoth, I have to be agile. And that's the philosophy of startups as well. So that's where we came about with a vision of what we wanted to do, and that is what you saw. And the visions have to be daunting. They cannot be very simple, right? Because if it's very simple, anyone can come and achieve it. So biggest advantage is when you create a USP for itself, when the entry barriers are much higher. And entry barrier cannot be in terms of funding, entry barriers cannot be in terms of they trying to put the infra. Entry barrier has to be in terms of your vision right here. Because that is what they cannot take from you. Intellect cannot be taken from you. They can take whatever else can be seen and copied, right? So that's why we went, we saw the category, we said I don't want to be in the exact passenger car because it will be too difficult for me to make a passenger car because the regulations are too high. So we took the regulations book, we saw the 3-meter category was very good, which is a quadricycle category. So we picked up that category. So we picked up that category, we picked up saying that we want to make into a lean manufacturing. We want to make a 4-door, 4-seater car because India is a family-centric thought process. So that means everyone will want to have their door to get in. And even when we went for the ride-hailing, that's the thing. Passengers would want to get in by themselves. So that is how we tried to design the car. And then we said, I want to manufacture in a space like this. Can I do it? We spent about 6 months coming up with the idea and trying to do. And we did that. And we made sure that every part and every component is either sustainable, recycle and everything. And so when you come back after this mission, and it has to be smart, right? We are benchmarking against Tesla, Nikola and others. So we take something that is already there, what I've seen. And after 14 months, 3 iterations, this is the vehicle we built. It's a 4-door, 4-seater, first in India, a 3-meter, first in India, a software-defined car, first in India. 6-odd lakhs is what we will be able to sell it first in India. But again, it's only a prototype. It is still not for sale, right? So we were able to do a CSUV style. Don't make something radically different so that people get confused. People want big space, small compact size. So that's what we did. We put whatever we could is in terms of that. So that's our USP. We have a smart platform, and this platform I can house about 7 body styles. That means I can build a 2-store sports star to a shuttle or a cargo vehicle. We have about 6 patents. We have 50 that we have identified we can do it. And you see that down below are again on the same platform. That means the car can look at the red car that you saw as a SUV. It can look as a shuttle, which is a 6-seater or 4-seater, and a cargo. And it has Alice OS, IVMS. And today we had best of best from Toyota, Stellantis and others from abroad coming and looking at our tech to see what we have built. And that platform is what we are saying that we don't want to have it ourselves. We want to go with the Fiat model. I will just license it to others. I want to make sure it is used extensively, and so that many small companies in India come on to build a vehicle, not from ground up, from the first level 1. So I am already built the level 1 from them. So this is what it is, sustainable. Our model will be a small compact model. We use a lot of recycled plastic PET bottles for making our seats and dashboards. We save about 6.3 tons of CO2 in the next 5 years per car. 11x smallest footprint. As I said, I can build a car in this about 7,000, 8,000 cars in a year, which if you break down is about 10 to 20 cars a day. We are 1/7 the size, and the biggest part is we save a lot of water. If you see, most of the automobile companies are next to a water bank, and we save about 1/10 of the water because we use Industry 4.2, 5.0, like what earlier they were saying. We use the best of the technologies in this, and so that is where it comes to. Is when you want to do it, you have to push a vision, you have to put a lot of effort, and this effort is not the 5 years or 4 years that what I'm talking about. This year, this entire effort is about close to about 25 years of my experience in automobile, connects, networks, everything to make sure you can get to this part. So you have to always think, you are young, you have to start everything today. And the best part is at a younger age, you can make it happen because you have the time and error to do and learn in the next 5 years before you get into the career path of making sure where you go. So build your passion, build your career. So find a purpose. Every moment seems like this, but it is always, even if you don't do anything, you're going to lose your moment. So make sure you don't give up on your dream. Dream big, dream well, and try to make sure you start young. Try to create your passion and business. See if it works together and go ahead and do it. And that's what I will say is just take the leap. Don't keep sitting. Even if you sit, the time is going to go off. So just make sure you make a valuable use of your time.